Hi viewers, welcome to today's training, QuickBooks Desktop Training for Beginners, Part 3. Today we shall be looking at the following topics: advantages of QuickBooks Desktop over QuickBooks Online version, main similarities between QuickBooks Online and Desktop version, and running business basic reports in QuickBooks. So let's quickly look at the advantages of QuickBooks Desktop over QuickBooks Online version and the next topic before we move on to QuickBooks screen to see how these reports are generated. QuickBooks Desktop version can be installed locally and it can generate sales order. Also, it has 15 more reports than QuickBooks Online, which makes it more robust than QuickBooks Online, and it has so many other features that are yet to be incorporated into QuickBooks Online version. It has options for industry-specific features. Also, it has optional industry-specific reporting, lead management, and manufacturing management. It can manage your the manufacturing aspect of your business, which is not available yet, which is not yet available in QuickBooks Online version. So now let's quickly look at the main similarities between the two. Both QuickBooks Desktop and Online version are very good software that can take care of large businesses, medium-sized businesses, and small-scale businesses. Both of them have strong accounting features. They have hundreds of integrations, that is, they can both be integrated with different kinds of apps, like Salesforce, for instance, HR apps, and so many other applications. They can both be used to generate invoice to customers. Also, they can be used to track your expenses. They can both be used to manage customers' contacts. They can both be used to manage your inventory, to track time, and they can both be used to manage your projects, budgeting, reporting, tax support, payroll and its add-on, mobile apps, and Mac compatibility. So before we move on, please let's like this video, subscribe, and press the notification button so that you can always have access to the next videos. Now, to run sales report in QuickBooks, you come to reports, come to sales. Here we have different kinds of reports under sales. So let's start with sales by customers. You click on this. Then here you select the period of your reports. You can select this fiscal year to date. Then it gives us the summary of sales to the customers: Bomax Limited, Bosmark Limited, Police, and CDV Engineering Limited. And the total here is 2.7. So now let's go to the next sales reports. Here we have sales by customer detail. So now let's select our date range, this fiscal year to date. So here now, as you can see, we have all the necessary details concerning these sales reports: the invoice dates, the invoice numbers, the customers' names, the items sold to the customer, the quantity, the selling price, and the amount. Then the balance, the customer's total balance at the end of the period under review. So here now, you can also generate our reports by items. Let's go to by items detail. Select your date range. Then we have this. For instance, basement split from January till date. We sold 3 to Bosmark Limited at the rate of 200,000. The total for the year 600,000. And so on. Now let's look at sales by item summary. Select the year. As you can see, by item summary, a total of 3, leaving out other details as we have in by details. 600 in total. What's the total percentage compared to others, to other items sold? 22%. So that means here this year we sold more of power breakers. Power breakers make 44.3% of our total sales for the year. Here we have the total cost of sales of the items, and the profit margin, the gross profit margin. Then this is the average price for each of the items. And here we can generate sales by sales rep or by marketer. Summary, then also by detail. So here we can generate our sales reports graph. So here is the graph for our sales reports. Here we have by item, by customer, and by sales rep, as you can see. And you can print this out in PDF formats. After printing out in PDF formats, you can screenshot, copy and paste in your PowerPoint reports. So now let's quickly move on to purchases reports. These are our purchases reports. Let's start with purchases by vendors. Details. Select your dates, just as we have in sales reports, this fiscal year to date. So these are our purchases reports by each vendor. For instance, from Beckles, we have 2 bills generated. These are the quantities we purchase of each item: basement plates and infrared holder for the year. Likewise for the other vendors. Now let's move on to inventory reports. Here we have reports, inventory valuation summary. Then you select your date range, this fiscal year to date. As you can see, these are our reports, inventory reports. Quantity we have on hand is at this date, the average cost, the total inventory value, the percentage of the total inventory items we have in the store, the sales price of each item, then the retail value, that's the selling price value, and then our percentage total retail for each of the items. Now let me explain this. For each of the in reports starting from sales, purchases, and inventory to any other reports we have generated so far. You can always export them to Excel and edit them by clicking on this Excel button here. A window like this will pop up. Once it is in this format, on printed report and screen, click OK. Then you click on Exports. So here we have our reports. You can expand this. You can delete this. Then you have your report here, and you can edit it. As you can see, inventory valuation summary. The same way we can generate a report for detailed inventory valuation. So next we have customers reports and vendors reports. To generate report for customers, you come here, you have customers and receivables. Here you can have your aging summary, that's account receivable aging summary, account receivable aging details, customer balance summary. Let's quickly look at that. Select your dates, fiscal year to date. Then you have CDV Engineering Limited, owing you as at these dates. Now customers balance detail. You can view all or this fiscal year to date. So here we have customers balance detail. Bomac Limited, nil. Bolus, nil. CDV 188125. Now let's look at vendors and payables. Aging analysis. This fiscal year to date. We have the same kind of reports like this for customers. So here you have vendor balance detail. Here we have all of fiscal year to date. So these are the vendors we are owing as at date. We are owing Trade Partner Nigeria Limited this amount. For iTech, this is the amount we are owing, the total amount we are owing. Hybrid Industries and Becos. So for our financial and management reports, come to Accountant and Taxes. Here you have your trial balance reports, journal, audit trail, general ledger. Let's quickly look at our trial balance. Let's look at this fiscal year to date. So as you can see, this is our trial balance, this is our assets, then our liability, then cost of sales. Now let's look at our P&L, statement of comprehensive income, and our statement of financial position, which is balance sheet. So okay. So here we have our profit and loss, which you can also export to Excel and edit in a presentable format. Then here we have our balance sheet detail also, as you can see, which you can also export to Excel and edit in a presentable format. To be it today on reporting. So try to subscribe and click on notification button for the next video, where we are going to be looking at the following topics: how to record sales return, purchases return, sales discounts, and so on. Thanks for watching. Bye.